not really how the song goes, but I keep making that noise. Hello, darlings, and welcome to Performance Perspective, where we watch different performances and then we share our perspectives. If you're new here, hi, I'm Cara Darling, your performing arts commentator. Anyways, I'm excited because we are talking about Mame, and the reason why I finally watched it is, first off, I love Lucille Ball. I love her. And I just knew people said the worst about Mame. And I finally got to a point where I was curious. And also, at this point, you could watch it for free on YouTube with some ads. Link is in the bio. So I finally was like, you know what? I'm going to make a day of it. Why not? Let's do it. Oh my gosh. It is pretty bad. But I'm going to explain why it was bad. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. So first off, what is it about? Mame is a popular Broadway musical that originally premiered in 1966 based on the 1955 novel Auntie-Mame by Patrick Dennis. The musical features music and lyrics by Jerry Herman and a book by Jerome Lawrence and Robert E. Lee. The story revolves around the eccentric and larger-than-life character of Mame, an unconventional and free-spirited woman who lives life to the fullest during the roaring 20s and beyond. After the sudden death of her brother, Mame becomes the guardian of her young nephew Patrick Dennis, who has been raised in a very conservative environment. Mame's bohemian and flamboyant lifestyle clashes with the conservative values instilled in Patrick, and the musical explores the humorous and heartwarming situations that arise as she attempts to provide him with an unconventional and worldly education. The story follows their adventures and misadventures, including Mame's various romantic relationships, her extravagant parties, and her encounters with a diverse array of colorful characters. The musical is known for its catchy songs, including If He Walked Into My Life, We Need a Little Christmas, and Bosom Buddies. It combines humor, drama, and a celebration of individuality and living life to the fullest. Mame has been revived numerous times and remains a beloved classic in the world of musical theater. But how was the movie? It's not good, but why? Well, yes, I agree, Lucille Ball was miscast because she couldn't sing.
Did I ever turn away? Would I be there when he called? If he walked into my life today?
In the movie, you can see her thrive when it's situational humor, when it's physical humor, but then there were times where her delivering lines weren't like in rhythm or syncopation, and I think that has to deal with a lot of her doing sitcoms. And I love her. She needs an audience. She has been on Broadway before and has, was a success on Broadway. And again, I think that has to do with her having an audience. Now, as far as her singing, the studio actually did want to dub her voice, but ultimately Lucy said no. So then they were like, okay, sounds good to us. And it clearly shows that they cared more about her being in the movie versus making the movie good, because it was a success. It is a success. Angela Lansbury was the original on Broadway, and people really wanted her to, do it for the film. And even Lucille Ball went to see her and said, "Oh, you're amazing. I hope that you get it." And then Angela Lansbury noticed something. She noticed that Lucille Ball was coming to the shows again in the wings, and it looked like she was taking notes. And that's when Lansbury was like, oh, I think she got the role. And that was that. Clearly, I don't think Lucy took enough notes on why people were attracted to Mame. And yeah. Even B. Arthur regrets being in the movie because of how bad it turned out. The director was her husband, and I believe she was I believe she was in the original cast on Broadway. So I think there was a bit of conflict there where it's like, we'll see, because hey, it has Lucille Ball. And although she loved working with Lucy, again, it was kind of regretful seeing the outcome. I have to say though, B. Arthur was my favorite character in this. There are lines that she said. One that I keep saying around the house is,
"Tell him we got our eyes on that moon."
I know this is going to sound crazy, but I think it's not good because the movie is visually ugly. I know, you see that the main character, Mame's hair color changes as she gets older. I didn't understand that. And in my head, I was like, ooh, Lucy doesn't look good as a brunette. So I kind of was like, She looked great as a blonde. I was loving that part in the Georgia sequence. And then, of course, her iconic red hair. And then the last scene is her with gray hair. And I was like, she looks great. But the brunette stuff wasn't working. And it wasn't until I realized that Auntie Mame, like I said, was a book and it became a movie. And when I saw the trailer of that, I was like, okay, this looks like a lot of fun and I would love to see this movie. And I see that her hair color changes. And I don't know why I want it so badly where it's not that Mame is dyeing her hair, it's that she has tons of wigs. And I guess I was waiting for some sort of gag that that like her wigs are shown, kind of like Myra from Schitt's Creek, but that wasn't the case. And because of this movie, I wasn't realizing that she was getting older and time was going along, except for looking at Patrick and seeing him become an adult or in college, or until, spoiler alert, he has a kid. And it didn't do well in that aspect. Another reason why I just thought visually it was ugly, the colors were contradicting a lot of the times. And to me, I feel whenever you're seeing a show, the costumes are like the greatest way to give hints to the audience without them knowing. And then there would just be, I just found myself going, ugh, I don't like that on Mame. I thought B. Arthur, is it Vera? I thought Vera looked great because her colors were consistent. She had black hair the whole time and she would wear mostly black, red, and white, and that was it. And I was like, that's her vibe. I get it. It's very Wednesday Addams. So then when you see Mame, I was expecting to see, maybe like pastels, color, like she lives life in color, so you would think she would be in all of these interesting things for a season, and then they kept putting her in brown and black, and I was like, I'm not liking this at all. Like maybe even put her in white because she's so, the light in the party and things like that. But I don't know why they didn't like do that. But I will say, when she was blonde and she had this purple pastel, I was like, oh, I love this. And also the lavender color, I mean to say, is such a huge symbol for love or falling in love. So I was like, that was a perfect opportunity to do that, because that scene was kind of like that situation. Something I find funny is that when you watch the movie, you'll see that some of the scenes is shot out of focus on Lucy, and there's even someone that said like it looked like they took just like chicken fat grease and rubbed it on the camera, and I'll find it, I'll insert it here. But apparently when the audience came to watch the movie, there was something where it's like the out of focus was on Lucy, and then with her male lead, it wasn't out of focus. So I guess there's a part where they're dancing, you could get a glimpse of Lucy in focus, and I guess it was a jump scare for the audience, and they actually went and stuff. I mean, that's horrible, and that's why we got to be careful with filters and things like that, so we don't jump scare people. Now, here's another reason why I think this movie wasn't as successful. I was very confused by the relationships that Mame had, because it seemed, surface level. It was very superficial. Like even Vera, I guess they were sort of like frenemies, and so I can see that developing.
I found out years ago what you thought of my talent when we were in the chorus together.
I was never in the chorus.
Her relationship with Patrick, her nephew, growing up, it just felt like things were cut out. So I actually took it as Mame didn't really care about anyone except herself, or when her, significant other. I didn't even get it that they were married or together, or I don't know. I just didn't understand their length together. And even when spoiler, whatever, even when he passed away, the way that they showed it in the film, I had to go, wait a minute, because it was just like a montage of Patrick growing up, I guess, and then all of a sudden it's like avalanche, and then you have to put two and two together to be like, oh dang, that was a lot. And it felt like didn't they just get together even though they didn't say they got together in Georgia? Robert Preston, that's who it is. Robert Preston, oh my gosh.
You may be from Manhattan, but Georgia never had a sweeter peach.
Like, this man is like the main male lead in so many of these musicals. I gotta do an episode on him, but he was such a joy to watch. He was so good in it. Another huge example, again, spoiling, don't really care at this point, is that Patrick, you know, is engaged to this woman, and then we see the engagement fall apart, and then he ends up going for the decorator, the housemaid at Mame's, but then she's only in one little scene, and I'm like, wait a minute, when did they have interest in each other? When did they find things in common and stuff? Because it literally ends with the scene of him being upset that Mame did something for the engagement to end, but then we don't see him realize, oh, she did me a favor because this family's awful and stuff. It's just next scene where it's like, apparently he's been married for years and has a kid, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, I didn't like that. I just felt like the relationships weren't valid. Like, it was vapid. It just feels like a lot of conflicts in the movie was just kind of skipped over to the next part of their lives, and I find myself going, wait, what was the resolution of it? All right, can I share random things I learned about this movie? One, Madeline Kahn was supposed to be playing the nanny Agnes, but then was fired and she went on to do Blazing Saddles. Well, rumor has it was that she purposely was trying to get fired so she can do that movie, and I guess Lucille Ball looked at her and saw that she was beautiful and curvaceous and just went, no one's gonna believe that she's a frumpy woman, and agreed, and I'm glad she did that, and I love Blazing Saddles. I'm so tired. Honestly, you know what I wish? I wish they did a modern Mame, right? And who would be Mame? I could see Barbra Streisand. Why not? Bring her back. Like, I want to see her in another musical. Or maybe, I don't know. I don't know too much about like the age of Mame and stuff, but even like Kristen Chenoweth would be so good. I would love to see that. Again, I want to go see Auntie Mame because the trailer looks so good and maybe I can understand the relationships more. Anyways, darlings, I would love to know your thoughts on this musical. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And without further ado, take care, darling.